Hello and assalamu alaikum, everyone. A very warm welcome to the Audit and Assurance Webinars to Success for June 2024 exams. Today is the day 3 and the final day, and I am your tutor, Kashif Kamran. Now, the agenda of day 3 is inspiration to success. Over the last 2 days, we saw the approach to success, and then we saw yesterday your exam techniques to success. And today we're looking at the inspiration. How can you be motivated, and how I and the students, some of the good students, can add optimism among all of you to pass the AA paper. Let's open the session. Let's talk about inspiration to success. Now, over the last 2 days, you got to know the approach, you got to know the techniques, but at this point in time, you also need the right motivation and the optimism to pass the paper. I'll be joined by 3 students today. Musna from Oman, she's already there. Haris from Pakistan, and Pramod from India. And they'll be talking to you, and I'll be asking them some questions, and they will be answering them for the benefit of all of you. You can also ask a question, and I'll raise your question to them, and they will be answering it. So this will be more of an interactive session. If you would like to ask any question to any of the student, please kindly put that question in the chat box so I can raise that question to the concerned student. Okay, just let's start on with the session then. Just give me 1 second. Musna, you can unmute yourself now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Musna, for being there. Musna, I will start with you in terms of guiding students how they can get success in the AA paper. You got success in the first exam setting, and you even scored very good marks in the paper as well. So the students would like to listen to you in terms of what you did to get that excellent result in AA. So my first question to you would be that you know that the AA exams are just 20 days away now. So in your capacity as a student, when you were preparing for the AA paper or any other paper, what you basically do inside 20 days, or what a student for AA should do inside 20 days to exam?
So the first thing which I did in the remaining 20 days left was doing the past papers and revising the crucial concept, the weak points, so that I in the last 20 days I basically brushed through the weak points where I knew that these were my weaknesses, and I basically did a lot of past papers.
Okay. Okay, anything else apart from self-evaluating your weak areas and overcoming the weak areas and doing a lot of past papers? Did you revise any theoretical concepts or something like the OTQs? How much time you spend on the OTQ, the section A of the paper, in these 20 days?
Sir, I spent approximately 45 to 50 minutes.
Okay, that's in the real exam, right? But in terms of preparation,
Yes, yes.
in terms of these 20 days, how much OTQs a student should do, and do you know any sources from where they can do the OTQs?
Sir, a study hub is a very great resource for solving past papers, and as well as practicing on the practice platform, especially helped me to ace and get these marks, as well as basically solving a lot of OTQs and basically solving past papers helped me greatly in passing my exam.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so I hope you all heard. If you would like to ask any question to Musna, you can put that in the chat box. She's trying to tell you that she focused on his weak areas inside 20 days. She practiced a lot. She gave a lot of time to OTQs. A study hub is an important source for OTQ. We also discussed that on the day 1 and day 2, how critical study hub is as a resource for your OTQs, right? And she said she practiced a lot on the practice platform just before the real exam. So I hope you will
and
learn.
Also going through
Yeah, sure.
examiner's report also helped me in understanding what exactly does an examiner expect from a student, and what are basically the main key points which should be in an answer.
Okay, so you did utilize the examiner report and you did found them beneficial.
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's great, because I was discussing this with my students yesterday that when you write an answer, try to evaluate your answer in light of an examiner report, because they can really give you a constructive input in terms of your weak areas and strong areas, and you can learn from them. So I'm really happy that you emphasized on this point, that examiner reports indeed are beneficial for students. Okay, so there is some questions. I can put that to you first. Uh, there is a student, Thompson. He's asking a question. How do you stay motivated up to the time of setting the exam? Now, this is crucial time, right? Everyone starts feeling nervous. They start believing they don't know anything. So the student is asking how you keep yourself motivated in these last 20 days up till the day of exam.
So I think first very crucial thing is to basically believe in yourself. I think the past days, how much you have given your time, I think that should basically help you to understand that you have given in your best. And understanding others, how they share, I mean, understanding other stories and how they basically aced audit paper is also very essential to keep you stay motivated.
Okay, so believing in yourself, right, is the underlying principle of keeping yourself motivated, because you have a target in front of you. You have your exams coming up, and you have put the financial resources into it, your physical resources into it. So definitely, you would like to excel on the day of exam. There is another question, Musna, from a student, Reshma. She's asking, may I know what were your weak areas which you emphasized in the last 20 days in terms of,
So my week,
yeah,
yes, yes,
in terms of the
my weak
topics?
area. Yes, yes. Weak areas, my weak areas were basically controls, internal controls,
Hmm.
and identifying risk, audit risk. These
Okay.
two were my weak areas. So I kept on practicing past questions and understanding examiner's report on how what should basically be the auditor's response and what should basically be the controls. So these two were my main weak areas.
Okay, okay, great. So I hope, Reshma, you got the answer. That for Musna, the two weak areas were controls and risk. Okay, there's one last question before I move on to asking my question to you. There's a student asking Wakar, how do we assess our areas of weakness while under the pressure of impending exams? How do you manage exam pressure? Even Wakar, I did emphasize on a self-evaluation on day one, that you need to evaluate your weak areas. You know best where you are weak, right? As Musa just highlighted, she was weak in controls and risk. So how she got to know that she's weak in risk and control? Because she must be struggling in those areas in terms of identifying the risk or explaining the deficiency in the internal control. So you need to identify in which areas you are weak at yourself. No one else can help you. I hope you will agree to that, Musna.
Yes, yes, definitely. A self evaluation is key to understanding your weak points.
Okay, fine. And how to manage the exam pressure? He's asking that as well before we move to the next question.
Managing exam pressure, I mean, one thing which actually helped me was that I never used to think that my exams are coming up. I just knew that I had to do somehow and I have to clear the papers. So not just emphasizing that you have to write an exam, it's just something which we all face. Exams are something which is ongoing if you are students, so not focusing much on the exam day and just being calm throughout.
Okay, great, great, great. And you were giving a single paper, double A, in your exam setting, or you had another paper with
Yes.
it?
No, no, so a single paper,
A
just
single
audit.
paper. Okay. And approximately, like, how much time you used to give on a daily basis to study the audit paper?
So approximately 4 to 5 hours.
4 to 5 hours a day. Okay. And you were giving a single paper double A in your exam setting. Okay, that's great. Before I take further questions of student, my next question to you, Musna, would be, can you identify some key resources for student in this last 20 days? You mentioned Study Hub and Practice Platform, but apart from that, and even the examiner reports you mentioned. So any other you would like to add to this list of key resources? Did you went over the technical articles, or you didn't?
So I think take. I guess, sir. You were saying something, sir.
Yes, sorry. I think your voice was I could not hear you. I was just asking that
Uh,
you did mention
yes.
practice platform and study hub, and you did mention examiner report. Is there any other resource which was there in your last 20 days as like an important resource?
No, so apart from Study Hub and apart from the past paper questions, I think I did not use any other resources, except for
Okay.
obviously examiner's report too.
Okay, and you did not spend time on like the technical articles because you were into study hub?
Yes, yes, sir. Technical
Okay.
article, I actually did a majority of the technical articles in the start. So
Mhm.
the last days were just spent revising the concepts.
Okay, great. So you did spend time on the technical articles, but you did them at the start of your studies, not in the last 20 days. So you were more focused on examiner reports, practice, and the study hub in the last 20 days, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. Another question before I move to my question, Musna. There's a student, Sayed SN, asking, how did you remember so many things?
Yes,
Because
yes.
it's a theoretical paper, right? How to retain theory before the day of exam?
Yes. I think revision helps a lot. I mean, if you have already built a strong foundation for your concepts, revising will strongly help any student to understand uh, the the weak areas and basically which areas to emphasize on. So I think your revision should be thorough for remembering a lot of concepts.
Okay, great. So you should have your short notes, any pointers, any summaries, which you can revise at the last moment. Because even if you look at the section B of the paper, it's not 70 out of 70 marks is like knowledge based. Out of 70, I think 10 to 15 marks could be knowledge. Remaining 55 marks is like case study. So it's not much like you're retaining a lot and going to exam hall. Something will be very spontaneous, very natural to click, because when you have learned so much, you've gone over so much, it's at the back of your mind and definitely will come out on the day of exam to give you the right answer.
Exactly, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, now the a few of the last things. A day before exam, what's the right strategy, Musna? One day before exam, what a student should do? Should he do something or should not do anything?
So my suggestion would be not to do anything on the last, just a day before the exam, because it helps you to remain calm. And if you have, I think, in the last 3 months, if you have done a lot of questions, then I don't think so. You need to do studying just a day before the exam.
Okay, so no study a day before exam. Okay, great. And what about the day of exam? On the day of exams, mostly the student get panicked, even though they are well prepared, but somehow on the day of exam, I've seen students coming to a greater level of stress and panic, and they destroy their paper, uh, even with good preparations. What to do on the day of exam?
So I think again, believing in yourself, and if you have prayers of your parents, I think that is more than sufficient to help you ace your exam. And just not thinking that you're writing an exam is just it's it's something which which any student does, and just treating it as a normal exam will help not to panic.
Okay, fine. So the prayers of the parents, believing in yourself, and just taking it as something normal, right? You are giving an exam. Just don't create like a big pressure of that on your head, because there are so many other students along with you who are giving the same paper with you, right? Okay, great. Thank you so much, Musna. The final thing, top three tips which you would like to give to the students. What
Um,
top three?
Understanding.
Okay, fine. Go
Yes.
ahead.
Okay. Understanding concepts,
Okay.
revising past papers, and utilizing study resources.
Okay, understanding concepts, the past papers,
And utilizing resources like
and
Study Hub and
utilizing
technical articles.
resources. Okay, great. That is three things you should be focusing on. Okay, that's great. So, Musna, that is it. That was the questions I would like to ask you. Just let me confirm if there is any questions from the student they would like to ask you before I move on to the next student. Any question from any one of you? Anything you would like to ask Musna, so she can guide you? Okay, so did you got any benefit from what Musna just said in terms of your preparations, what you should do inside the last 20 days, a day before exam, on the day of exam? I hope you heard her, right? So she scored really good marks, 64 from Oman, and she passed in the first exam sitting. You know how challenging the double A paper is. A lot of time the students struggle even to cross the 50 barrier in the first exam sitting. So that's really great. Thank you so much, Musna, for taking your time out and talking to the students. And really thankful to you for this time, and really
Thank you so for
appreciate that.
having me.
Yeah,
Thank you so for having
all
me.
yes.
Glad to be of help.
Thank you so much, and all the best for your future goals and objectives.
Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome. Okay, we are joined by another student now. He's from India, Pramod, and I would just take him on board. Just let me ask him to unmute himself, and I can just add him to. Pramod, can you just start your video as well, right? That is great. You have already started it, so great. Just give me 1 minute.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, just 1 second, Pramod. Okay, Pramod, many thanks for coming into the session. I hope you can hear me, and I hope you've unmuted yourself, and all the rest
Yes,
of
sir.
the participants can see you as well, right? Great. So I would like to ask you some questions, as I was asking Musna. She was from Oman, scoring 64. Pramod is from India. He scored 62 and passed in the first exam sitting. Pramod, how you study in the last 20 days before the double exams, in the last 20 days particularly, because the exams are 20 days away now.
Okay, sir. So, good evening, sir, one and all. So, last 20 days studies was not for the lectures. Basically, I just covered up with the lectures and assignment and the webinar portion before, when we are right now for the exam, June exam. So it was nothing else that you haven't told us. Last 20 days was include examiner report, latest, and include technical articles and the ECC practice platform. And what I did, like for section A, I tried doing within Kaplan study text for the twice. And for the section B, webinars assignment that you have provided was enough for me to score this good marks.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Pramod, for that guidance on what you should do inside 20 days. And any student can ask any question. I would be raising that to Pramod, and he would be answering it. What were the key resources you used in terms of your preparation for double A? If you can highlight some of the key resources you used in your studies. Yes, sure. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So, like for core learnings, it was like your notes support file, and believe me, this is the best resources that I could have got from the tutor. And I'm same enjoying doing with the triple A exam from you only. So after the core learning from the support lectures, what I didn't follow the Kaplan for the study text, not for the section B. For the section B, I was relying on only for the assignment that you have provided to us and the past paper from the ECC website. So you also have mentioned the orientation session that do latest 4 examiner report and try to complete with the technical articles and doing the going through the latest exam. And one thing that I found very similarity, I just want to pay emphasis on that, like the orientation session in which you tell us about the time management skill. And I can I'm very proudly can say that with that time management skill, I was only able to score achieve my 100% completion of my paper. So this is something I found very similar in your the orientation session and the examiner report. So listening to this webinar is also somewhat replicate to the examiner report, but I would prefer you to go for the examiner report since you have some if you got some time. Yes, sir.
Okay. Great. Pramod, there is a question I would like you to answer. There's a question from Umar asking
Yes, sir.
how many hours you used to study per day or per week, and how did you plan to cover all the resources used? Because obviously for students, that is quite a important question. How many hours you study? a day or a week for double A?
So basically, like for the it was following with a planner, and it was somehow not more than 6 and 8 hours because I was like a full-time student, so I was able to give that. But it's all depend like if you're working full-time, so how you're managing this out.
And Pramod, you were
The
giving
point
a
and yes, sir.
you were giving a single paper double A, or you were giving another paper along with it?
So it was in a single paper for me.
Okay, a single paper for you. Okay, you can continue
Yes.
now. You were telling something about 6 to 8 hours a day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So basically, the point is that you have to cover up on certain things. Like you have to cover up the all the topic. You're not skipping them out. And like if like for as I was a full-time student, so I was able to complete like 4 or 6 exam report. But what I would ask you for to complete at least 2. I give a 5-time mock. So if you're not going for the 5 marks, so give at least 2 or 3. So you have to touch up of everything, right? That would be very sufficient in planning you like in a great manner.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So I hope you all are hearing. You first heard Musna, now you're hearing Pramod. Both these students got success in the first exam setting of double A. So I hope the message which is going to all of you is that this is a doable paper. The challenges are there in every paper of ACCA, right? You have to overcome the challenges with your right approach, with your right techniques. And definitely something that Musna was saying, you have to believe in yourself. Because if you believe in yourself, you will be delivering your best. Okay, another question to you, Pramod.
Yes,
A day before exam, what should you do? Should you do something or you should not do anything?
yes, sir. It was like I got your tutor support, and I was just referring the and remembering the concept. Okay, so it was some sort of an relaxed day for me too. I was
Okay.
just going through the topic from the tutor support only, and I was limited to that only.
Okay, so a bit of revision of key concepts, right? Apart from
Yes, sir.
that, it was just a day you have to relax before your actual exam, right? So that was something Musna was also
Yes, sir.
telling, that to do nothing a day before exam, just to relax yourself. You can revise or brush over some key areas, and that is it. And on the day of exam, what should you be doing on the day of exam? What you used to do on the day of exam for double A, considering the stress, the challenge, knowing a lot of students fail in the double A paper. So sitting in the exam hall with the double A paper in front of you, what was your feelings at that point in time?
So it was an incident that I got to the exam center like a 15-minute delay. I got like some issues on that day. So like after going to there and like late by the 15 minutes, still I got a 3 times because it is like a standard time. And I started and okay, giving myself a confident, okay, this is what 13 hours that you have and you can ace it. And like already mentioned by the time technique that you have mentioned out, I was able to complete 100 marks of the paper. And that was my first ECC paper that is scored 100% completion of the marks. And I totally believe like that totally possible, but it's all depend on the mindset. And when I just started with the first question, I was like a little bit back of the mind. I was like stage or what, so because I'm starting a late paper, and everyone around me was something that relaxed and got their comfort into exam. But it
Hmm.
started late, so I was a little bit confused. But then like it's all depend your mindset, how you're dealing with that. So you have to relax yourself first, no matter whether which paper you are paying for, right? You
Fine.
have to relax yourself. So start with that.
Okay, fine. Totally understand that. Pramod, thank you. Sayed SN is asking a
Thanks, sir.
question, which is, I understand such questions can come at this point in time because you had a lot of stress on yourself as students. He's asking, how close is the actual exam to the past paper?
Past papers also coming from like also the exam that one of us
Yes,
colleague has said. So it is like
exactly.
similar. What I would ask you, like there's one conception, like if you're doing within Kaplan kit, like if you're applying for the assignment and if you're doing the past paper, so there is no need to do for the Kaplan kit. Whatever you're doing from the like the caution of the past papers will be sufficient for you. And like there is no addition, but obviously the pattern changes with the ACC, right? So you will be seeing that in your exam too.
Great, great, great. So exactly, very good answer from you, Pramod. So definitely the past papers itself was an actual exam of the past exam setting.
Yes,
And
sir.
there is so much repetition in double A, particularly in section B, you get
Yes, sir.
so much repetition like audit risk and responses, substantive procedures and internal controls and everything. There is so much predictability in section B in the double A paper. So nothing is out of context in double A. So believe in yourself that the actual paper would also be like the past paper. Okay,
Yes, sir.
there is a student, Progress, asking a question. How close is the pre-mock exam to the final mock? You know, ACCA release a mock paper before every exam sitting. So you attempted the AA mock prior to your exam sitting, Pramod? And did you found any
Yes, sir.
similarities
It is.
between the mock and the actual exam?
Yes, sir. I'm not able to recall what was the exact, but like already I was mentioned this out to you. The pre-mock exam, the ACC past paper are nothing but the replicating your final exam, because the same thing. And another thing that you can expect, like 1+ to the addition what they are providing into the past paper. So this is what you can expect. And obviously ACC is not easy on their student, right? It always provide you something to do hard work because it is in global qualification. So obviously, but if you're doing the past papers, so you're clear with the basics and somehow you are prepared for that papers, whatever the stunt is coming up.
Okay, great. Thank you. So see, it's very important.
Just
Yeah, it's very, yeah, sure. You
yes,
want
sir.
to
Just
say?
I would like to, yes, I just want to thank you for that. Like I attempted my pre-mock in the last 4 days, and I get back to you, and I got a feedback in like last to the end before the exam. So I just want to thank you for that. Like
Okay,
if you
you're
are on this
welcome.
stage,
Okay, I try my
thank
best
you.
to respond to my student answers because again, there is a load of emails I get every day. At times, it's humanly impossible to respond to all of them. But again, my level best is there to respond as many as possible. So really thankful to that. Okay, Pramod, the last thing is that what will be your top 3 tips for AA June 24 students at this point in time?
Do not miss on any concept, right? First step
Okay.
that would be do not miss any concept. Another thing is that you like for the core learning you're doing hard work, but the same smart work is also required. For that you can go through the webinar sir has planned this with, so the ample of resources that you have. And other than that, please do not think to lose on your technical article and examiner report. If you're even doing for one or two, like for the examiner report and completing the important technical article, this will give you ample of open mindset that can you use in your writing the answer, because this paper is something that we have to write about, right? And the much and the huge by reading these articles you will be like in a better position to write and draft a better answer. And one more thing, when you're when you're attempting a question, particular question, so what you have to do after getting the feedback from sir, just check and your answer what you have written down from the suggested answer and try to emphasis on that. You don't need to replicate the answer, but what you can do, you can try to emphasize the quality of your answer by looking at certain jargon words. So that will somehow prepare you for and not losing you on some silly marks, right?
Okay, that's great. That's great. Thank you so much,
That's
Pramod,
it,
for
sir.
taking your time out and talking to the students and telling them about how
Obviously,
you
thank you, sir.
prepared.
Thank you, sir, for having
Yeah,
me.
thank you. Thank you so much for your time out. And once again, my pleasure that you were here in the session. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
all the best for your studies ahead, whatever ACC exams you're doing. Okay, students, I
Thank you, sir.
hope uh, you listen to Pramod, you listen to Musna. I hope you got some motivation because they are students just like you. They prepared themselves for the AA exam. They use the resources which I guided you on the day one in terms of approach and the techniques I guided you on the day two of the webinar. So they used them, they effectively implemented them. If you have an access to a tutor, please ensure you email your answers to the tutor for a regular feedback because that really adds value to your for in terms of whether you are going on the right track or the wrong track. Sayed Hassan is asking a question. Sir Kashif, do you check mocks for student if they pay only for mock or is limited to the registered student? I don't have a separate mock marking facility, Sayed Hassan. But yes, if a student is registered under me, has benefit of giving me the mock for review, right? So that's open to my registered students who are in the June 24 batch with me. Okay. Haris, are you there in the session? Because you were the third student, else I can go up and wrap up the session. If you are there in the session, Haris from Pakistan, please drop a message in the chat box that yes, I am there. Okay, I think Haris, if you are there in the session, please ensure that you message me that I am here. Probably you could be there with another name, so I cannot track you out. Okay, thank you. Okay, I hope you got the right inspiration, all of you. So are you all pumped up? Are you all motivated? Tell me before we go to the last part of this webinar. Okay, so are you all feeling better, feeling motivated, feeling pumped up, looking at the students like you, talking to you? 3 months ago, they were students. Now they've passed the AA paper. They're moving on into the ACCA journey. So you can also do that, right? So just believe in yourself. You still have 20 days. The guidance given to you on day one, the guidance given to you on day two, I hope you will follow it and stick to it. Just before I wrap up the webinar, there is something very special, and that is 12 key takeaways of this AA June 24 webinar. Let's see what was so special in this AA June 24 webinar, which should be emphasized, reinforced, and is critical for your success. Just let's do a quick recap. Number one, 405 OTQs and the sources where you can get the OTQs from. I hope you remember that. Number two, 10 past papers, including the mock, to excel the constructed response type questions. I hope you remembered I mentioned the 30 questions, the total of 10 past papers, which you should practice around the constructed response questions, the section B. Time management, I told you for section A and section B. I hope you remember that, the 54 minutes and the 126 minutes and the breakdown of it. Students' tendency to rush in section A, despite you are having a good time to do it. We discussed that yesterday, that at times students just are in a hurry over section A. I don't know what's the reason. I did guide you about the best practice of section A yesterday, the time management, and even you can flag something and move on. Knowledge-based questions, we identified a list of that from the 7 papers. A lot of repetition in the knowledge areas in AA. So better assure that you're going over the list of questions I mentioned on the day 2. The RSPCA approach to section B, we came across that how effectively can the RSPCA approach could be. I hope you remember that mnemonic and what does this mean and how would you implement this on the day of exam. Case specific answers, you need to write case specific answers because a lot of answers in section B, you need to involve yourself in the case. You need to copy paste things from the case study and then elaborate upon them to find the best way of writing the answer. Substantive procedures are as simple as CASP. We discussed that yesterday, that how easy is it to write the substantive procedure if you have a strong command over CASP. Again, these are free webinars. This is not a regular class. So I did not went deep into CASP, but at least I given you a knowledge if you can explore that. Well-developed point, we talked about how you write a well-developed point and the definition vary for audit risk or response, deficiency in internal control, key control, substantive procedure. We talked about some examples of what a well-developed point could look like in the AA paper in context of different topics. Evaluation of your answer with examiner report. We discussed that yesterday, how critical that is. Even Pramod and sorry, really sorry. I hope you got the point number 9 that was heard by all of you. Till point number 9, is everyone clear? And you were hearing till point number 9? Please confirm that. Yes. So point number 10 was evaluation of your answers with examiner report. Even Musna and Pramod was discussing that. How critical is to check your answers versus examiner report, because you will get a lot of feedback from examiner, which can really help you improve the quality of your answers. Then we talked about stop idealizing the examiner answers. Yesterday, we did discuss that the examiner answers are lengthy. They contain more points, a tutorial guidance. So I did give you a cautious approach yesterday about examiner answers. And the final one is look at opportunities on the day of exam in the paper, there will be plenty of opportunities in the paper for you to score marks and go past 50. Don't look at the glass is half empty. Look at the glass is half full. That is the best approach. You can pass any ACCA paper. Be optimistic, not pessimistic. Believe in yourself, because there will be opportunities, and if you can grab on them, if you don't know anything, ignore it, flag it, come back to it later. But you can pass the paper from within the opportunities you have in the paper. So I hope you will believe in that, and you will all be succeeding. My prayers, my well wishes are with all of you, and I hope this webinar to success will go a long way in contributing to your success in the upcoming exams. Sayyidasin, you can put that question in the WhatsApp group. I will be answering it right after the webinar. Thank you so much for that. I hope this webinar was effective. I tried making it as effective as possible so it can contribute heavily in your success in the upcoming exam. And I wish you all the very best of luck. My prayers, my well wishes are all with you, and I hope you do the best on the day of exam. Thank you so much, all of you, for taking your time out, coming into the webinar all 3 days. And I hope you are in the WhatsApp group for a connection with me. And any questions you had up to the day of exam, I will be more than happy to answer it. All the best to all of you. Thank you so much. Your tutor Kashif Kamran signing off from the AA June 24 webinars and the day 3. Thank you.